People are supposedly getting possessed at the new Conjuring movie. And if you guys have seen any of my videos, you know that we're talking about the real haunting behind the Conjuring last rites. So the last thing I told you is that Janet from the Smurl family heard someone calling her name in the basement. She ran upstairs, she looked around, she could not find anyone in the house. She checked under the bed, she checked in the closet, she couldn't find anything. At this point, they're starting to panic, rightfully so. The odd events were increasing. Dawn, one of the daughters, started to notice that her mother was acting weird, and she was like, you know, you need a day to yourself. You need to go to the mall, go buy yourself something nice, and forget about all of this because you're just going stir crazy. So she went to the mall, but she decided not to buy anything. However, she felt a lot better after going to the mall. When she got home, she turned up the radio, she got out her ironing board, and she was gonna iron some clothes when the room got freezing cold. Obviously, this is a bad sign. She looks around, not knowing why she's feeling cold, and she looks up and she sees the most terrifying. Here is a concept of what she saw. It was like a human figure, but it was pitch black and it looked like it was made of fog and it had no face and it was wearing a cape and it was on all fours. But she didn't scream, she didn't run like in the movies, she just froze. She couldn't move. She was paralyzed in fear just watching it. And it moved into the living room. She also said it had a weird odor. She waited a few seconds and then she followed it into the living room. I don't know about you, but I would probably be running the other way. When she gets into the living room though, it's gone. It's not there. So if you saw my last video, you know that Janet lived on the other side of a duplex from her mother-in-law. So she goes over to the other side of the duplex and she's like, how am I gonna tell my mother-in-law that I just saw something straight out of hell? Like, how am I gonna tell her? So she walks in and she's trying to figure out how she's gonna tell her when she notices something odd about Mary. Mary's the mother-in-law. Mary is just sitting in a chair, kind of stoic. And normally she would greet her, she would ask her if she wants a tea, but she's kind of just sitting there. And then Mary leans in and says, I need to tell you something. This black thing came through the wall. And that's when Janet knew that they had both seen the same thing. Then out of nowhere, everything just stopped. Everything cooled down and nobody was sure why it cooled down at this point, but the weird stuff just stopped happening and they thought it was over. But spoiler alert, it wasn't. Go to part 4.